Hello guys, welcome once again to Gaming Gent. We will be doing at this time a shorter version of the in-depth guide to the Warmage. Okay, I do play a Warmage, so I will be doing mostly stuff on him because I wouldn't like to be giving you info on classes that I don't play. Okay, so I'll put a link in the description if you're into it, if you're really into it and you really want to go all the way. There's probably like an hour-long video about me speaking on the Warmage. Okay, so let's start simple. The overview of the class. The Warmage is a DPS class. Okay, it's the closest thing that this game has to an assassin. Not your typical MMORPG assassin that just teleports and put a daggers in someone's ass and walk away because they're dead. But it is the closest thing to it. There are two ways to do it. You can, let me show you, you can use a sword and a grimoire, which is basically a spell book, and this will allow you to become a fighter mage, which is the nicest touch role-wise. I really like it, the way that you can just go in and put a couple hits and then move and evade and, you know, have a lot of mobility. Okay, so this and will allow you to do a wider range of things with your mage. Okay, and then of course, if you used a sword, you will have a specialization on it that will allow you to inflict 10% more damage on targets that are 7 meters or closer. Okay, we have 3 basic skills for each for the sword and 3 basic skills for the staff. So the best one, just to let you know, it will be Marching Blade, because it's an AoE, because it has a little defense penetration, and mostly because of the range, because the other ones are 2 meters and this one is 7 meters, so it's kind of right on the spot to where you want to be. Okay, the other way that you can build the mage is using a staff, and a staff will allow you to become the classical mage that needs to be further away from the mobs and kind of never gets touched. So it's not the fighter mage, it's a classical mage. Okay, and of course, if you use a staff, you will get a bonus of 10% damage on targets that are 8 meters or farther away. For basic skills, I would recommend that you use Shockwave because it has a little slow, because you can go and do nice things with it. It's kind of the same as the fire clutches, but a smaller version that will recover you mana. Remember that all the basic skills will give you mana back, so they are a really important part of your build. Okay, so the mage, like we said, is not a tanky class. It's a really squishy class. You have very little defense and little HP, so you will rely a lot, like I said, on mobility. You have to be very reactive to what the game is throwing at you. So it kind of takes a little bit of time to get used to him, but once you do, it's really fun. Okay, so what are the most important stats on the Warmage? You would probably ask, and this is simple. You need crit rate, you need critical rate, then you need cooldown reduction, and after that you can do attack, critical damage. They are also important, of course. Evasion is important as well, but the basic stats that you should be focusing in early to mid game should be critical rate, cooldown reduction, and then attack. Okay, why critical rate? Because the Warmage does a lot of AoE spells. Okay, the best spells on his kit will allow you to do AoE. So AoE is constant damage while you move around and become invulnerable and fade away, etc. So it is good, and it is a very nice way to increase your DPS by increasing your critical rate. After that, cooldown reduction is also really important, because his spells are you kind of get in a flow as you progress with the Warmage. You will kind of fall in love with it, because you will get better and better skill wise and equipment wise. So it is also very important. This takes me to the Soulbox. When you level up at this game, as you already know, you have the regular level, which goes up to 65, which I advise that you go all the way because you need to unlock all the content, and you can do this probably in a day. Then you get there's another level or system that is the soul experience, which will give you soul levels. When you get soul levels, for example, I am a Warmage with 170 of soul level, so I got 170 points that I can throw at any of these trees. Okay, so if you're not 65 yet, everything goes to XP. Why? Because you need to be 65 as soon as you can. When you are 30, you will already be getting 5% more on your quest. So do that, and especially do the purple quests. They are really nice and easy to do. Don't worry about the other stats when you are low, because damage is more than enough for you to clear all the content of the game until you are 65. Okay, so go for that. That's the basic stuff. That now that is out of the way, there is one important thing besides the crit rate and the cooldown. There's a way to improve your survivability, and that way is putting 30 points on health, because it will give you this lifesteal that will allow you to leech 3% of your damage. So this is really important, especially if you're soloing a lot of content. If you're that kind of guy, you need to have it. It will give you a lot of survivability and whatnot. Okay, so this is always optional. Right now I still use it because I do solo a lot, especially at Lupa, and maybe for some content you can just reset it. Oh, by the way, don't worry, don't be hesitant to test everything. As you can see here, I have a mess because I was testing before making this video, and don't worry about it, because you can always reset it. Okay, so it's not really expensive, and of course it becomes more expensive as you level up. So just play with it. Okay, and then you have two routes. One, the one that I recommend, go for crit rate at least to level 30, or at least until you can get this crit rate closer to the cap, because it will allow you to have a huge spike on your DPS. Then you have the other option is go for cooldown reduction, which is pretty much what every mage is doing right now. And the cool thing about it is that you get this dimensional warp skill that will allow you to reset your skills and throw them all over again. So it is a really nice thing to have. You need to get as every Warmage that is already around the 100 or the 80s should be able to get your max cooldown, which is 50, and your max crit rate, which is 30. Right now I don't have it because I use the shield, what's the name of it? Because I use the Spectre shield and I have the Soulstone, which allow me to get there. So this particular build is not using it, but it's always maxed. Okay, so what else? Once you, of course, you level up, you will have more points to put in here. So attack will become also a priority. There is no need to go crit damage or penetration yet at this game. So when you go cooldown, you will make every run faster. You will have Lurie faster, you could do Mythics way faster. So go for it, because it will give you more mobility. You will be able to try out more things. Okay, so Soulbox, it's pretty simple. After that, you will revolve around attack and crit rate. I was playing a little bit with it. I'm sorry, attack and crit damage. Okay, then if we were to speak about the important stats, we would have to speak also about the equipment. Okay, so we'll do a quick overview. I'll try not to get this was the part that when I got really long on the other one, so if you want to go there, go for it. But crit rate, for example, is not easy to raise up. You have your you can do it through soul points, but then you will have to rely on your equipment. And right now you can get crit rate on the gloves, You can get crit rate on your helmet, and then on your jewelry. You cannot get crit rate on your, for example, on your shoulders. I'm sorry, on the shoulders. Yeah, you cannot. I'm sorry. You cannot get on the shoulders, on the chest, on the pants, and neither you can on the shoes. So it's not really. That's by default. There are some exceptions that we'll check right here. For example, the Medalla Magic Association pants. They are the only ones that have 5% cooldown reduction. That's why they are so expensive, and that's kind of best in slot at least for PvE. Okay, then what you need to be focusing is crit rate, like I said. After that, you will need to be going for cooldown reduction. So for helmet, go for crit rate, cooldown, and attack. Okay, and for that you will have to do Dragon Hunters. You can also do Ruler of Garuda because it has more attack. So people do that. The Ruler of Garuda is this one. Okay, so you could just go for it because it's a nice thing, but focus mainly on crit rate, cooldown, and attack. Shoulders is the same thing, except that you mostly have two stats, which are cooldown and attack. That's why the Lost Mage shoulder covers are so good, because they have a lot of attack. But you can also go for this one, which is just a Dragon Hunter, cooldown and attack. Okay, the third one I leave it up to you. If we were to talk about the ones that are important, the ones that I prefer, I will go Evasion. Evasion is really nice to have. It gives you survivability, not only PvE but in PvP. Okay, you could also do CC time reduction, which is cool because, like I said, you won't be able to take more than 1 or 2 hits. So if you get CC for too long, you're done for. So that's another way to go. Don't worry about max HP because you're still squishy. You don't have 14k or 15k defense like a tank class, or 10k. You have very little of those, so don't worry about it. Okay, defense penetration and true damage, not the moment to do so. That's more of a end game thing when you want to go PvE and you want to take territories and all that kind of stuff. Accuracy is not important, of course, because as long as you have 100 for PvE, you'll be fine. It will become important on PvP. Okay. So shoulders, then you go for the gloves, and for the gloves it's the very same thing as for your sword and your grimoire. You need to go crit rate, crit damage, and attack. They are expensive, I know, they are kind of hard to get, but it's the best way to go because your DPS increase a lot. Okay, so Dragon Hunters on the gloves, Dragon Hunters on the sword, and Dragon Hunters on the grimoire. Options, the mage doesn't have a special gloves to him, so you kind of mess with it. Mythic at least. Sword, you could use the sealed magic sword, which gives you 135 attack and it gives you a little MP reduction. Which I was forgetting. MP cost reduction is also nice to have because when you get the cooldown up, you will find out that your constant throwing of skills will leave you without mana. So it's also a nice thing to have. And for the grimoire, I wouldn't recommend to go either for the Lost Resurrection or the other one because you kind of lose too much. Okay. Shoes, go for. You have two options, and both are nice. Medalla Magic, which will give you a lot of movement, and then you have the sealed Dragon Hide, I believe it was. Let me just wear them because there's too much text. The sealed Dragon Hide shoes are the ones that you should be looking at because they have a lot of attack, and cooldown is what you should be looking for it. Of course, when you go up, you will find out that you can remove cooldown from one of your items and go for another one. But to keep it basic, sealed Dragon Hides are really good. If you can't get a hold of them because they are also expensive, medallas are really good, and you could go Dragon Hunters, no problem. You should be looking at cooldown, maybe movement speed, attack. Okay, so evasion maybe should work as well. So for all this Dragon Hunter stuff, I recommend that if you can get like a nearly perfect one, go for it. But if you don't, just get someone. It doesn't. My crit rate here doesn't need to be 4.88. It could be 4.2. It could be 3.8. If you find a good chance, something that is not too expensive, go for it. It will take you a long way. Then for chests, I would recommend for PvE, the Bloodstain robe is hands down the best one. It is kind of expensive, but go for it. The Pandemonium robe is more kind of a PvP kind of, I don't know what it is, but I don't really like it that much. And then, of course, this is all for mythic equipment. Then we'll speak about the set items. Okay, so that's it. Then jewelry, of course, remember that you have the possibility of 3 items to get soul experience, which is really nice, and will go with you like all the way. You have the Lost Dragon Soul, which will give you 10. You have the Wyvern Soul, that will give you another 10. And if you don't have this one, there's a ring called Soul Absorption Ring, which is an ancient ring. It's really cheap, and it will give you 8%. Go for those because they will help you a lot. Okay, but still, what you need to be doing here is attack and whatever you're missing. If you're missing cooldown, go for cooldown. If you're missing, I don't know, crit rate, go for it. These are pretty much exchangeable. You don't have to go like all the way to get, the Dragon Slaughter, for example. Which is nice, of course, but that's a problem for the you of the future. Okay, so that will be it about the equipment. Set items are really important on the Warmage, and right now for many classes it is endgame. Okay, so I am well, the problem with this game is that they're too big. When you get too much like this one, you kind of can't see shit. So I hope that website takes note of this so we could enjoy it. Okay, so you have 4 sets. You have the Transcendent Star, you have the Blazing Sapientia, the Raging Fabrics, and the Mana Chaser. And the best ones are the Raging Fabrics and the Blazing Sapientia. Why? Because the Blazing Sapientia will allow you, with only 2 pieces, will allow you to decrease your hallucinatory infection cooldown for 20%, which is really nice. Now the cap, this is something you need to know. The cap on the skills, like this one, like we have a 50% here and a 30 here. They're capped through equipment, but if you go through skill crests, which are these little guys right here, you can go over it. Okay, and set items will allow you to go over it as well. Okay, so if, for example, if I have the Bloodfest, which right now it gives me 10 seconds, I'll do it again in a bit, but it gives me 10 seconds of cooldown. When I wear this and this, I will be able to do the Bloodfest and reduce it to 8 seconds. So it is important. That's why I do have these 2 little guys here that will help me to do so. Okay. What else? The Blazing Sapientia, the Blazing Sapientia does the same thing that I was showing you, but it does it for the hallucinatory infection, which is your bread and butter skill when you're leveling up or doing pretty much anything. Okay, so like I was saying, Blazing Sapientia, it's great, and Raging Fabrics, it's also great. They both do the same. They decrease either Bloodfest or a hallucinatory infection cooldown by 2. The other guys are okay. You could play around with it, but they're not really bad, you know. But you need to have a good set, and you need to have more pieces of equipment in order to be able to have a build that can take the most out of it. Because in the case of the Transcendent Star, you will be playing around a lot with the Meteor Drop and the Final Notice, and that Final Notice gets really good. And in the case of the Mana Chaser, which is kind of lower, I mean the worst, but it's not actually bad when you build your character right. But that's for I don't know, probably months, because you need to have lots of pieces. Okay, so that would be for set equipment, and then we will go to another important part, which are the skills. Now for the in-depth, go to the other video. But for this one, I will just tell you what the best skills are, what you should be focusing on. Like we were saying, for weapon, if you have a sword, go for matching blade. If you have a staff, go for short blade. Then the bread and butter skills of the Warmage are the Bloodfest, which allows you to rush into a selected area and deliver a flurry of attacks, inflicting 23 to AoE damage, whatever. It's an nimble that hits, and it's great, and it has lower cooldown. It's really good for survivability and also to do damage. Then you have your Fire Curtain, which is your main DPS skill. It leaves a trail of fire on the ground, and it hits really hard, so focus on it. After that, some people use when you have these 5 skills that are going with the Q to the T, but then you have right click and left click, and for right click you can only choose your basic moves, but here you can put anything. Most people use Fire Clutches, which is another one of the great skills of the Warmage. It puts a little explosion on the ground, and it is nice. But you could also maybe use the Reaper Slide, which helps you when you're soloing easy content, for example, or if you're with a big group that with good tanks that will keep the aggro, you could do Reaper Slide, which is really good. Also, there are some other builds that can have a lot of CC and will give you time to take advantage of the Reaper Slide. But that's pretty much it. There's another build that uses Spectre Shield, which is the one that I'm using, but that is also nice. What else? You need to be taking a look, of course, at Full Throttle. It's a great skill. Don't focus on the damage, please. I have seen so many mages putting damage on it. It's a mobility skill. It's a one that makes you a machine of damage over time skills. Okay, so utility, I would focus on Full Throttle, Dance Macabre. I don't know how to say it, but it's great, especially for clearing content, and Bloodfest. So treat all of these the same. Go for MP cost, go for cooldown, go for stealth duration in the case of Full Throttle. Those are great. And then the other one, CC, that you have, which is good, is the called murder. Sorry, but it's mostly for PvP, or it depends on the build that you have when you go with more people. But in order to be alone, you don't really need it. Okay, but those are the good skills. And then the beautiful hallucinatory infection, which is the cheapest skill that you have, and the one that does the most for you. It is an AoE skill that hits really hard, but the cool thing about it is that 1, it doesn't cost pretty much anything, and 2, because it's 19 MP is nothing, and you have a 25 max MP recovery. So, for example, if you're using the Ray, you could just lay it on the ground, and there you go. Put all the 3 stages on it as the monk comes to you, and this will never stop. And this is like a lot of damage for Bloodcaster, for example. It helps really a lot. Okay, so for it, go for cooldown, go for crit rate, or the third one. It's up to you. But skill duration is really nice to have, and cooldown. Okay. So that would be it for the regular ones. Then some of them will give you utility. Some people use a lot of Binding Blizzard, but I find it kind of lazy. I do use it a lot, I must confess, and it's also one of the bread and butter skills, because it slows, because it kind of has a decent damage, but it keeps them up where they should be. But once you become better with the mage, you will find out that you don't need to slow them that much if you're using if you're having a correct use of the full travel, because when you teleport, the mob will like stop seeing you for a while and they will stay where they are. So if you time it right and if you have the cooldowns, you will probably kind of use that slot for another skill. Okay. The crappy skills, even though you can improve them, all the other ones, the mana razor, even the shield, the radiant chain, the power slash, those can be improved through soulstones, and this will give you a little flexibility. Okay, if you want more info, go to the other video. I'm already getting too long on this. Okay, so next, expert skills. Just take a look at the passives that each one gives you. Most people don't even use the skills, the main skills, because these ones are too good. Okay, but you can do nice things with the Glacier Vision, especially in PvP. You could do great things at PvP with the Final Notice that will allow you to hit really hard and penetrate. So it's really good. For farming, the Spectre is really good. And this one is also really good for builds that, for example, use River Slide and whatnot. If you want to be insulted by everyone when you do castle or anything, go for the meteor drop because people will get pissed at you because you're pulling away the mobs. But kids, no kidding, this is also a good skill. Okay. Beware of the passives. Okay, this one when you go full cooldown will help you a lot because 10% it's really nice. And then the other one that I really like is this one. When you already have a good weapon, +7, +8, +9, it kind of helps. But this is pretty much whatever you want to do with it. Another tip that I will give you for the first when you're starting the game. Go for Destruction. No, that's not Destruction. Which one was it? This one. Devastation will give you that 5% cooldown that you will need when you are leveling up. So you could go for that too. Okay? Okay. What else? The artifacts. Artifacts are a really important part of this game. The best one, hands down, are Frenzy and Hysteria. Of course, I would recommend you that you go for Frenzy first, because I feel like it's better for everything. Even if you're doing Yuri or Fabrice's Garden or an Epic or the harder content, it gives you movement speed, it gives you a lot of damage. It's really good. Go for it. This is like the best that you can get. And then you can play around with his Hysteria. I'll probably do a different video only on it, but Hysteria, you need to have it in a really high level before you can use it. Otherwise, you will not get too much out of it. And the other thing that you need to know is that since it decreases your attack, I've seen so many people just increasing their critical damage through, for example, through their equipment, forgetting that every crit on this game is based on your base damage. Okay, so if you're doing Hysteria, please get your attack up. Do not go crit damage. It's not the way to go. Okay, but it's a great artifact to have. Then you can do Sunrise if you wanna be kind of a support mage, which is also a build I will look into it. I will play around with Tenacity as well, because the Warmage has lots of skill that knocks mobs away, and I think it's fun. I just want to do it. And then the other ones, just, well, you could do Rainbow if you don't have the time, or some other thing help you at Lupa. But just don't. I would recommend that you don't waste your time. Go for Frenzy all the way. Okay. So there you go. I will. There's another video that is way longer. When I talk, in that one, I speak about the soulstones, for example, that you can get. The ones that you craft with the Sage's Stone and the regular ones. But just to include them here, they are the greatest way. For example, at the chest you could get crit rate, in the pants you could get cooldown reduction, on the shoulders you get another 2% cooldown reduction, and this is the things, the little things that will help you have a very well-rounded character. Okay, so if you have questions, leave them on the comment box. If this is helpful to you, please drop a like and subscribe, and we'll be catching up real soon, and I will see you very, very soon. Have fun. See ya.